All right, it's time to get started. Managing to start the stream more than 2 seconds late. All right, so let's see what we have. We had mRNA, of course. AIMD, basically flat, some volume, but not really moving too much. Good morning, Dervin. You absolutely sniped that join button. Okay, BKYI. This one's actually holding up decently. Probably want to watch this one. 10 million, so that's a little bit high, but certainly worth keeping an eye on. Interesting. So this ended up popping up. Remember when I was watching Candyman, it went over 4, so I guess it rejected that. But yeah, starting the stream a little bit early today. Feeling pretty good. Good morning, Skivon. Good morning, good morning. I would ask you guys to hit the like button, but I see you already have, so I don't need to. Thank you. Yes, goo to you as well. Goo to you too, Larry. We'll see how today pans out. My apologies again for not putting the recap up yesterday. I was just really out of it. I was pretty tired. Even that post I made talking about it, by the time I did, it was like almost midnight here. Good morning, Beach Tune. Yeah, we'll see. GOAI. Wow, that one, what the heck happened with that? Well, first of all, let me go back to mRNO here, because we're getting a pretty big sell-off at the top of the hour. 370 down to 340. Pretty high volume. Nah, you're good, man. You're good. Yeah, Mr. Buckeye, you as well. Hope it all goes well. Yeah, super high volume on this push down. So, from what I can tell, there isn't actually news that justified this pump. I suspect, given the yearly, this is likely just some kind of short squeeze candidate. No, but the float's really high. Okay, so something probably happened with this that I'm not connecting the dots. In any case, though, the volume's very high on this drop, so I probably don't touch it. Yeah, GOAI had a very interesting move, and I only say it's interesting because the price it's moved, the percentage, is insanely high. Like, yeah, 400%. So similar to BNAI, right? We had BNAI that moved up a ton. GOAI seems to have moved. So we definitely need to keep an eye on stocks with the AI theme. This still seems relevant. How is BNAI doing, by the way? Is it still holding up? I mean, it's still holding up. HYPD moving without news. I'll check it out. Yeah, this one's weird. So it's been creeping. Certainly doesn't look like natural price movement. PDYN is also moving. This one certainly looks more interesting. It looks like we have news too. Awarded Air Force contract to advance swarming capabilities. I mean, anything that's awarded a contract is generally good news. Looking at the daily, this looks... We did have a spike up here, but it's not crazy. Also, this is a pretty stable daily chart. Yeah, a lot of tension around this area. I like the catalyst though. Catalyst seems good. I like the daily chart. I would like to have a cleaner pullback though. This volume's quite high on this breakdown. Seems like a lot of indecision here. Also a bit of a higher float. Okay, it dropped to 690. Immediate recovery. Yeah, 29 million float. Yeah, sorry, I was just calling out the shares outstanding. That's fair. Very nice break on it. MRNO seems to have stabilized a little bit, but that sell off at 7 o'clock was pretty brutal. Pretty high volume on the breakout. The only real issue is this volume isn't super high relative to the float. It's really the only issue. Well, and the fact that this was down pretty low recently, right? Just a couple weeks ago, this was at 430. So there's a bit of a value gap working against this position as well. Yeah, so it went up, tagged 750, back to 730 now. Still pretty high volume. Curious to see if we're going to see a sudden reversal here or not, or if this is just a pullback before the next leg. Good morning, Telemann. Break over 50 and immediate pullback. Yeah, anyone buying on the break at 50 is probably really nervous right now. Cost moving also without news. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. I saw it, but I hadn't looked yet. Yeah, I mean, it has some volume. Right, it's got volume to it. This is much higher than back here. So it's definitely passing there. Because this just had a move yesterday, and it looks like we had news on it. Or maybe, no. This is just generic. Or no. Okay, no, there was news. Non-binding agreement came out here. So even if there's no news, this is really just a continuation of the news from yesterday. So I would say there is news to it. Yeah, the fact that the volume here is higher than over here, certainly in play. Keep this one on watch. You could call it on that one. Still watching PDYN. Very interested to see how that one plays out. Also, now that we got more people here, just do want to say that I did size up a bit more. So the size today will be a bit higher than the last few days. BMR did pop as well. Getting some volume. Yeah, there is news to it, though. Daily's not... Well, no, this is a recent... Okay. Never mind. Yeah, the daily isn't horrendously bad. 15 million shares outstanding. Yeah, the news is kind of a whatever, though. This news is nothing too crazy. Probably worth keeping an eye on it, but beyond that. PDYN. Seeing another pullback here. Yeah, so anyone who bought on this 1 minute high at 50s, I mean, they've had to endure a 40-cent drawdown. Volume has been declining, though, so this is bullish seeing this volume dropping like this. So you could have maybe argued with this low volume buying that, but didn't quite see it. Yeah, BMR, Cust. They're both moving pretty quickly here, too. I'm iffy to jump on BMR, just because this news catalyst is kind of not a huge deal. I'm actually kind of surprised it's getting the attention it is. No trades for you yet? Good morning, Flip Flop. Yeah, nothing for me either. A lot of stocks on watch, though. Yeah, I feel like BMR is the weakest of the three candidates. Let's see how much this one pulls back. Some support just above 2, around 206. Yeah, Israel stock 2 on this, huh? I didn't even look for that. Yeah, let's see. Seen a lot more Israel stocks lately. Historically, over the last several years, I haven't really seen this many Israel stocks moving. It's very interesting that I've been seeing it more. ACI. I could do something. That one's been one that's moved well in the past. Is a Chinese stock, but this has had a history of making moves. So I shouldn't rule it out. Does have news. Plan to invest 30 million US dollars in share purchase at $5 per share. This same news catalyst came out yesterday, essentially, but it burned me. And it was also a Chinese stock. Oh, got the volume for that bounce. 270 to 317. Then back down. Yeah, it's got a lot of range on it. 270 to 317, back down to 270s, 260s. So this one has a ton of range. Pretty high volume on this pullback as well. Could be potential distribution. BDYN also pulling out. Seems like of the three, only BMR is the only one really failing. And it's not even moving that crazy fast either. Yeah, AZI and PDYN. Those are the two big ones I'm looking at the moment. Rough. Volume isn't super high relative to this, but it is still pretty high. Like to see a bit more. Again, Chinese stock too, so got to be a little more careful. Currently, you're looking at a bounce about 10 cents, 11-cent bounce currently, if you bought that bottom. BMR has totally died at this point. Complete reversal. You could have got a 17-cent bounce here, so significantly better. PDYN is just continuing to grind. Just doing a very impressive job. The grind kind of makes more sense too, since it is a higher float. It will take longer to price in the actual move. Not in anything though. Yeah, the only issue with PDYN for shorting really would be is that the news catalyst is solid. And looking at the daily chart for PDYN, it is a pretty stable chart, so you wouldn't expect a reversion to the mean to be to the downside. Not to say that it isn't worth looking into, but just those are headwinds to consider. Certainly had a lot of action this first 30 minutes. I'm surprised. We're not even at the 30-minute mark yet, but I've already had maybe 4 stocks in play, something like that. All right, let's see how this plays out. $3 to $2.70. Somewhat low volume. Again, it's a Chinese stock. It burned me yesterday. Very similar news catalyst, so I'm really afraid to jump on it. I only want something that's really clean. PDYN has had 5 green candles in a row for the 5 minutes. So, I mean, it's been chugging along pretty well. Any 5-minute setup has worked really well. AZI, it looks like it's consolidating here. Here's the drop. 293 to 269. 24-cent drop. Very, very high volume. Yeah, it's a pretty big red flag. And I got my price marked. Okay. Sub 250 would have worked, it looks like, but I didn't want to go for that. Fair enough. Very nice pop on it. Yeah, so I had an order at 233. That was support on the daily. What do I think of PDYN? I liked it. I was actually considering buying it for the initial curve when it first was breaking out, because the daily looked good and the news catalyst was strong. So I liked it for that. It is a higher float, which kind of explains why it's moved slower. But no, I've liked the catalysts. This move up is not surprising to me. Yeah, of the opportunities we've had today, I feel like PDYN is the only one I've liked. AZI is a close second. Again, this news is bullish, right? The share buyback talk. I mean, anytime you mention a share buyback, that's typically bullish. But this is a Chinese stock, and yesterday we had the exact same headline for a Chinese stock, and I got burned from it. So, yeah. And I mean, maybe this recovers, because this is a pretty quick recovery, but this certainly was probably got some people there. Right, how much is that? That's probably like a 50 cent. Yeah, 50 cent drop in 1 minute. So very volatile. Yeah, I was about, what was the low? Low was 42, so I was 9 cents off of a fill here. Right, my order was way down here. All right, we're at the half hour though. So we'll see if we get any other stocks in play. Yeah, PD buy-in starting to curl back here. I feel like the whole move has already happened though, so I don't really feel like I should get involved with it. BKYI is continuing to move up here. Saw this one earlier, but it's a bit too cheap. I've just been too cautious this morning, right? Both the AZI and the PDYN setups would have worked out had I traded them on the front side, like I wasn't considering. I don't think I should reflect too much on that right now, though. Sticking to what's safe. I am trading larger size today, too, so I do need to be more particular. As for AZI, this move here has kind of invalidated it for a recovery attempt. Highest volumes on a huge spike down. Even on this recovery, this volume isn't as much as the push down. Yeah, pull back on lighter volume. No, certainly, yeah, this is ideal setup. Descending volume into the ascending volume for the push-up. So no, this is still ideal. Certainly. I just feel that it's so extended at this point. Right at the half hour, this thing started to roll over. ATON getting some volatility. I know ATON from experience is a lighter float stock. I think they diluted it recently though. I mean, it's a higher price anyway. We'll do a poll around 8 o'clock, see how many people have traded by today. I mean, there's certainly been opportunities. I just have been too sensitive to pull the trigger. Yeah, just sitting tight here. Looks like the half hour, nothing's really popping up from what I can see. Feed. I shall check out feed. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a lower float too. I'm surprised this one hasn't popped up on my scanners yet. Curious if the delay on Thinkorswim is the cause. Because this should be meeting all my criteria. Yeah, good pop. No news though. Also, this stock, holy crap, this stock sucks. 1 month. In 1 month, this stock has dropped 80%. Good God, what is this company doing? Scam company. But only 1 million shares. So this has potential to move. Have to run to the grocery store at 8. My only window to get some supplies before the real market opens. So I'll be leaving you all in 20 minutes. No problem, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Okay, with 1 million shares, with 400,000 volume, this has the potential to run. Right? This is so beaten down. It has curled up, though. An already done movement. RGNX, absolutely dead. Probably a failed clinical trial, if I'd had to guess. FDA places clinical trial on hold. Yeah. Sounds about right. Following preliminary analysis of a single case of neoplasm intraventricular, God, words, CNS tumor. Participant treated, blah, blah, blah. Also placed on a clinical hold on RGX 121. So this had a tumor from a patient, so they're pausing it. And that news has had the stock plunge almost 50%. So attempted to bounce at 10. You had potential for 80 cents. Attempted again at 8.50. You had potential for about $1. Keep this one on watch if it wants to go down more. The overall volume flow hasn't been high, but I mean, that doesn't really matter because the fundamental is just super strong here. Realistically, I mean, a bounce at 740 makes sense. That would be the most logical place on the daily. I could kind of see it here. Looking at this downtrend, naturally you would think it'd be closer to 7 though, like 720. So maybe 720 would be a safer entry. Definitely would be on reduced size too, given the move. Yeah, this isn't the most ideal setup anyway, because I have to reduce size because the moves are just so big. I suppose if it consolidates here for too long, even 7s start to become dubious. Well, 712 isn't even that bad. AZI is surprisingly holding up well here, despite this massive flush. It even looks like it's attempting a curl, but the volume is lighter. I think I'll just leave it alone for now. Yeah, flip-flop, since you gotta go at 8, I'll do it around like maybe, I don't know, like 7:55 or 7:50. I'll go ahead and put out the poll, just so that way you can vote on it if you want. Okay, so we did end up bouncing here. But again, just going into this push down on high volume, so risky to buy into that. I think all eyes are on TIRX. Yeah, I keep having Zendu scanner. It keeps pinging it. But it's too cheap for me. I do agree, though. This is getting huge volume. This just might be the best opportunity we have at the moment. How did feed do? Yeah, feed feed fully rolled over, of course. Yeah, I'm not surprised. MRNO. This is, I mean, ever since I looked at this thing this morning, it's just been bleeding down. $4 straight down to 3. In a very slow grind. GeoAI still holding up very impressively. And even this price action too. Like, this has been a dead stock. Probably because they got approved here. Approved for listing on NASDAQ. Yeah, that'll do it. BMR is surprisingly ranging a good bit. 92 to $2. This is an 8-cent range. That's significant for only a $2 stock. Not that I trust it, but just worth noting. Okay, YO looks like it's moving. Do have news. Announced a successful Type C meeting with the FDA. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Let's see. Higher float. Yeah, this is pretty range bound. It's not really breaking out a lot. These moves aren't very big. Doesn't look like it has that much potential. I mean, if you go all the way back to 210, I guess on the daily chart it looks safe. But you'd have to basically come back to like 212, 213. Only real way to get that total range. Yeah, also the volume's super light too. Only like 25,000 volume or something. It's not a lot. Right, low volume, high float. Not ideal. This is just kind of ranging here. Yeah, it seemed like a good morning to start, but it's died down a good bit. PD buy-in. Looks like it's still potentially making another leg. This one's been very strong. BPGI, it's getting some volume and movement. No news though. 20,000 is significant volume. Looking at the daily, this has been fairly stable. Very low float. So it's got some things going for it. AZI popped. Wow. Didn't expect that. So BBGI and AZI seem like the two ones to watch. Problem is this is with no news. And it's a low float too. So pump with no news, higher volume dump. I still suspect this could go lower, 570s, 550s, somewhere in that range. AZI seems like it's drawing more attention. All right, the volume's definitely there. Nice trade on AZI for you. Good stuff. No, I mean, it's broken out nice. $3 up to 330. Good stuff. I'll be honest, I'm having trouble trusting it after that huge fake out it did earlier. I mean, maybe that's the point. Make people afraid to touch it and then run it. A lot of pressure here at 6. It's nice descending volume, but I'm too worried about a rug pull potential, so I'm wanting to give this more room. AZI looks like it's holding pretty nicely. And now starting to see a little bit of a pullback on AZI. Some volume, but it's not as high as this yet. Yeah, 353 to 308. 45-cent drop. It's pretty big. So this volume has been pretty consistent for all four of these candles. A lot of no trades. It's a bit surprising. I mean, we only have six votes, so could just be low sample bias. But it seems like, at least initially, not as many people have traded. Good morning, Marcel. Yeah, no trades for me yet. I had two almost trades and one trade that was... Two almost trades and one order that was not very close. And now we have 12 people that have voted, and it looks like the consensus is becoming more clear. It seems like most people aren't trading yet today. That makes me feel a little better, right? Seeing a couple of these stocks move without me, it's like, dang, I'm just missing it. But realistically, the only actually clean setup was probably PDYN. And again, this one had a higher float. So I was a bit hesitant to jump on because of that. This was, in my opinion, the best setup so far today. AZI, while it is moving now, seeing this horrid flush and it being a Chinese stock, like, to me, I just couldn't trust it after that. Yeah, we're coming up on the top of the hour here. No, I know I haven't really done anything too impressive, but if you're enjoying the stream, hit that like button. It helps me out. And if you're new here, maybe subscribe. I can't really say I've given too much value today. I've looked at a couple stocks, but I just haven't seen anything really worth trading. So yeah, better to not trade than to take trades that you don't feel meet your criteria. Not missing anything. Stocks, it has something to do with it that makes it unreliable, so you're doing well. No, I'm not upset. Well, okay, so maybe I'm a little upset. I'm upset that there were two potential candidates that I was close to pulling the trigger on but didn't, and both of them would have worked out. In hindsight, yeah, you could say, okay, you did something wrong. But realistically, there were red flags for both of them, right? AZI was a Chinese stock. This news was a pump and dump that burned me yesterday. So seeing that connection made me more hesitant to pull the trigger. What was the other one? No. The other one, PDYN. Yeah, this one, I was interested in this just because the daily looked strong and the news was very strong. But the float made me not want to pull the trigger. So these both had things going against them, and the fact, too, that I hadn't had any trades yet today, like, it makes me more hesitant to pull the trigger on that first trade. I thought you would buy after that huge flush. Which flush? The AZI flush? I don't know if this is the only real flush I've seen so far today. Problem with this flush is just that the relative volume is huge on this candle, right? You look at this volume, it's huge compared to this. That also paired with the fact I was burned by a Chinese stock yesterday. Both of those probably played a part. Yeah, AZI, yeah. I was watching it though. If we saw this continue to go down and this volume dried up, I would have considered it. But this was a little bit too much volume, too much pressure. Yeah, ACI is just continuing to get pressure here. Yeah, we're at the top of the hour here. We'll see if we get any stocks worth trading. Wow. SXTP. Check it out. I gotta get something on the board here, though, guys. I can't even afford a can of soup with today's results. A little bit of potential lag. See if it continues. Yeah, so this does have news on it. This has a license option with Florida State University. This is a nice recovery bounce here. Could have maybe jumped on that. A lot of orders going through it around the 570 level. This one has a history of trending down, though, so this has a lot of downside rug pull risk. Very low float, too, so this could move very, very quickly. See how hard this breaks. Yeah, low volume on a lot of this movement. Still looking for that overreaction. It could have been the bottom here, but it's just... 24. This is crazy, crazy movement, though, too. 60-cent move. Yeah, 60-cent move with only 40,000 volume. Yeah, the float's likely accurate here. Sub 1 million likely. Yeah, this thing can move very quickly. It's got a low float. A lot of tension around the 585 area. Could be a seller. I put an order out to buy at the break of 50. Didn't get hit. Yeah, 549. That was my order. On the break of 550, and then just didn't get the fill on it. Yeah, this thing's so, like, 620 down to 540. Like, this is doing 80-cent moves. Huge, huge range. Yeah, and it's moving extremely quickly. Went back to that 580. Didn't I say, like, 585 seemed like a critical level? It's back there. Hmm. Pretty tight range considering how much volume's coming through here. Yeah, this 585 level seems important. It was rejected from very hard here. And then when we recovered, we hit it again. And we aren't able to hold above it. So yeah, 585 seems really important. Looks like could be getting lag on the stream. My apologies. Hopefully it's not too bad. Let me know if it gets bad. Yeah, I'm still watching this for a breakdown. This is low volume on this drop. This still feels bullish. But I want to see it drop more. Be safe here. This daily isn't ideal. Again, kind of consolidating around here. The spread's gotten a lot tighter. We're starting to see some 1 cent spreads occasionally. So a buy at 550 would have gotten you 570 potentially. So 20 cent potential. Still pressuring 550 quite a lot. Okay, there's the break of 50. Not on big volume. Okay. See if we get a bounce from that. Very tight order here. I'm gonna take some off. This isn't a lot of volume, but maybe it's enough considering the lower float. Yeah, it's pressuring 510 so hard. All right, 3 minutes down here. The volume's still light on it, but I don't know. I'm starting to lose faith in it. Let's see if we make another leg down. $12,000 on the break. Oof. Very brutal for me. That's insane to me. Fair enough. Did not think we were going to see that big of a flush from that. Brutal. Yeah, I would not have expected this big of a move down. Fair enough, though, right? That's what happens whenever you're dealing with a very low float. These things can happen. So, $19 loss on that trade. That's... Would not have anticipated this kind of flush after that. And this is lighter volume, too. Maybe just a misread on my part? This was very extended on the daily. So that could have been something I should have interpreted. Yeah, I mean, that could have held back to like just under 5, but realistically I had to get out. Very unfortunate. But we take it. I think with the daily, that the daily does mess it up significantly. Maybe I need to start giving more weight to that. I'll rate this C+ for this. Very, very high volatility. I sold half there. Right, right. Okay. It's be like, what, 93 or something? 94. Oh, no, I need to keep the... No, it was the average, right? Yeah, because I had cut half whenever it was struggling. So this was actually reduced potential max pain. This wasn't actually max pain. But even then, 19 still's off. You can do the math here. It should be 502 then. Yeah, okay, that actually makes more sense. Yeah. Yeah, because I sold half before this dump because I was getting worried of a flush, but I genuinely didn't think we were going to see an extra 60. What was this flush? 510 down to 448. So, yeah, that's like a 62 cent flush. You're finding it difficult to select a stock. How do you select stocks to trade? I mean, what are you looking for? Right? That should always... I mean, I have no idea what you're looking for, so how can I tell you what to trade? Not that I would tell you what to trade, but I could maybe try and help. Six, even that, yeah. Yeah, I think this is just so extended on the daily. Kind of messes with the metrics of things. Because you're buying at such a high premium. If you look at the last 20 days. Technically, this is still a very elevated level compared to down here. Not great value. Well, we're coming up on the half hour. Currently sitting down a little under 20 bucks. How do I decide? I used some scanners to look for stocks with low float, look for stocks that had volatility, high volume, right? This is very high volume. You can see the volume here. It shows the volume right here. But yeah, I was looking for stocks with higher volume, lower float, more relative volume, right? So this volume is quite high relative to this. So I was using the scanners to look for those criteria. Man, I am bummed out about this trade, though. Yeah, this does look like max pain, too, right? You figure anybody who was buying up here at like $6, they just got absolutely destroyed if they held through this. There really wasn't even a clean bounce. Right, it was just straight down. Like, this was the only real bounce, and you could have gotten like 20 or 30 cents. And even here, my entry was pretty good. Right? I got in at around 16 average. My entry was not bad on this breakdown. It's just that there was an extra leg to it. Hmm. AZY still pretty well holding up. KYO is breaking a little bit. Not really, though. Yeah, there's like no volume. Okay, never mind. Well, first day back to increase size. I'm basically back a little above normal size. So you can feel it with that trade. Could buy in flying. Still going up, huh? Yeah. Very nice consolidation on the 5-minute for this, honestly. Right, it looks pretty clean. No thanks. It's not really how I size in, because I have stopped doing that. But it's more so how I size out. So I have 2 hotkeys to scale out, either sell half or sell all. And I use that to either take profit or reduce risk. Like, honestly, I kind of dodged a bullet with SXTP, even though it doesn't seem like it. Because even though I bought here on this breakdown, looking for a potential curl, after it struggled for several minutes, I ended up cutting half. And I actually had another order that didn't get filled that I was trying to sell an extra quarter, which would leave me with a quarter position, because I was just losing more and more faith, and I was anticipating this rug. Now, I didn't think the rug was going to be this violent. What is your risk per trade is what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, okay, so I have been sizing up over the last several sessions, so it has been increasing. And currently, if you know my metrics, I am looking generally for a 1 to 0.1. So for every $1 of risk, I'm trying to make 90 cents. And that's just the metrics that I've found work best for me to give more opportunity. Because since I'm looking for these curls, I'm not necessarily always timing the bottom. So I got to give it more time in a lot of cases. And in this particular case, I would not have held normally through this whole drawdown. I would have wanted to cut probably around like $5 or $4.90. But this was just such a quick rejection that I can't really do that. And you can't really put stop losses on pre-market, so that's not really an option, unfortunately. So right here, so like for example, I lost 19. I think max drawdown was probably like $50 or something for this move, 50, 60 bucks. And realistically, with my current sizing, I'm looking for about $20 to $25 a profit, and I'm risking about $30 to $35 in that ballpark. So the fact that this went so below what I was anticipating to sell at, realistically, this is just going to happen sometimes. And it's also true for the opposite direction. I've had trades in the past where I'm anticipating to sell when it breaks out to a certain point, and the price just rips right through it. And then I end up selling higher. So it goes in both directions. But yeah, because I'm increasing size, naturally, if you're looking for an exact dollar amount, that dollar amount's going to keep changing. But the dollar amounts I told you are basically where I'm sitting right now, roughly. I have been trading. I've been trading for a little over 7 years. As far as day trading, I've been day trading for about 3 years. Technically, this account is green because I started this account with $5,000. I'm sitting at $5,036 after about a month. So it's been a little back and forth. My edge isn't very big, so I'm not at all surprised I'm close to the starting balance. I wasn't really expecting to really do anything crazy. You also have to allow for slippage in pre-market. Very true, yeah. In my case, it's not really that true because the size is not very high, right? 141 shares. But yeah, if you trade larger sizes, it becomes more relevant. I would say it's not very relevant for me, though. Yeah, just sitting tight at the moment. We passed the half-hour mark. I haven't seen anything new come onto the scanners yet. You trade pre-market too. You're doing 1% per trade. 5K accounts starting December 12th. You went up to 7.2K, then straight down to 5K now. So 1% per trade, and you went from 5K to 7.2K. That's a lot of trades, man. Like, won every week December, lost every week this month. Still, I mean, from December 12th to January 1st, right? We'll just say you traded 15 days. So you're saying you grew the account by about 50% in like 15 days. I mean, that's pretty aggressive, right? I mean, I respect that, like, 1% per trade. I understand that on paper, but to get that kind of growth, to go from 5K to 7.2K, that's not 1% per trade. Like, you would have to take an unfathomable amount of trades. Well, no, I'm still confused, right? Like, 1% of 5,000 is $50. We'll just say $50. You had $50 winners for every trade. So you would have had to have won 40. You would have had to have won around 55 or so trades net, right? So if you lost no trades, you would have had to have won 55 trades in 15 days for 1% movers. You took, okay, so that's kind of what I was wondering, is how many trades you were taking, because yeah, you would have had to have taken a lot of trades to get that kind of growth in such a short period. Either that or the sizing must have been different. No, I'm not doubting you. I'm just trying to understand your situation. Yeah, good morning, Avtar. Sitting down $19 for me this morning. Took a very nasty flush on this. But no thanks. How long have you been trading for? Also, what are you using for, like, broker for your trading? Because I'm using Webull to try and get the no commissions, so even though I'm only up $36, since I have no commissions, that is $36 of raw profit. No, I'm not doubting you. That's not what I'm getting at. 1 year? Okay. Short bias? No, I respect it, yeah. Okay, so Cobra. I've never heard of Cobra. Cobra Trading. So you have the platform, because I'm looking at Cobra. It says you have the platform fee. You need Dash Trader or Sterling Trader Pro. So you're paying at least 125 there. Commissions. So they do charge commissions per share, but it doesn't look crazy high. Yeah, like it's cheaper than Lightspeed, for example. It's about half as much. No, what I'm saying, so let me ask you this, though. Are you pricing in your fees and commissions? Or are you just sharing your gross returns, right? There's really nothing moving at the moment. Yeah, you pay per dilution tracker and trade ideas too. So I have a short. Okay, since I am short, I have to borrow the bar fees too. Right. So your $7,200 account, that's after fees and commissions. Okay. Okay. So, okay, that's borrow fees and commissions. Got it. Well, if you're short biased, that's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know your strategy, so I'm not going to critique it very much. I just am curious because short bias strategies can be more dangerous. Now you're back to 5K. Like, you've been trading a year. You said you took some breaks, but like, have you traded any other months than just these last 2 months? Again, I'm not like calling you out or anything. I'm just curious what your background is. AZI is continuing up. Honestly, at the moment, I'm mostly just sitting here because I don't really see anything else I want to engage with at the moment. Yeah, you see it too. Captain, I thought you would be on PDYN, the War Orange Wizard play. No, I like PDYN. I thought it was a good setup. I just didn't end up pulling the trigger. The float was a bit too high for me, but I liked the setup. I was really considering taking it. Not a pullback, but rather front side. Interesting that it's finally stabilized here after this initial breakdown. Yes, I traded all last year, mainly took off March, though, and August, like another month or two, to around those months. But every day, again, since then. October 13th. Well, hey, man, I respect the grind, right? You really gotta put the time in to even get some kind of progress or any semblance of growth from this, because trading's very, very... It's got a lot of obstacles to it. I can understand the short-sighted, or short bias to it. All right, a lot of these stocks, they end up rolling over. Thought the growth was too good to be true, but I didn't want to overthink it, but now I'm losing. Feels too bad to be true. Well, that's the high variance, right? Even though over like the last 2 years, statistically, I have an edge, but the edge is small, right? Even if you have an edge, if your edge is small enough, like I wouldn't rule out that I have a red month. Like my edge isn't big enough. So yeah, you could just be experiencing variance with your strategy, whatever it is. Since October, I've been trading 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. Last 2 days, hit max loss too. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, one thing that could be relevant too is we were in a pretty cold stretch from like October to December. So if you were shorting during that period, you would have seen a lot of good results. And like going into like the second half of December and all of January, it's been much hotter. So that kind of lines up, right? The market's been hotter, so if you're short biased, you might be getting punished more. Or at least that's my interpretation of it. PD buy-in. Going back again a bit. You were able to grow an account 50% in 6 months. That's crazy growth, especially without PDT. Only take high probability setup. I mean, hey, if it works for you. Need to expand more on knowledge. I mean, to me, even 50% growth in 6 months is very powerful. AZI, looks like it's rolling over. Potentially. Yeah, super high volume on this too. I'm skeptical though. GRI. Ooh, wow. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I saw your initial comment, Duvin, GRI, but it was in lowercase, so I didn't realize you were calling out of stock. My bad. Yes, I see Dervin. Yes, I Duvin. GRI Bio delivers compelling new phase 2 gene expression. Okay. Data demonstrating improvements in key drivers of fibrosis and lung repair. Okay, I mean, that sounds positive. Ran before the news. Did it? This says 8:45. No, it looks like it ran right at news. Yeah, this came out at 8:45 and this moved at 8:45. Okay, so this is a stock that's extremely beaten up. Super low float, too. I mean, this moved up so quickly, though. Yeah, recent reverse split. Yeah, the float's super low on this one. My worry, though, is that it went straight up. I mean, I like sevens for a buy. Good morning, Sergiut. Good morning, good morning. Oh, this will definitely be reduced size, though. One more like, I appreciate it. Thank you for the like. Okay, so this did end up bouncing here, it looks like. 80-cent bounce. Still very impressive. My big issue is just that this is so beaten down. Good morning, you like the stream? I appreciate it, day trading nurse. I appreciate it. How's the warrior trading feel? I mean, it could be. To me, it just reads that this was a super low float. The news was good, and this immediately pumped. Could be warrior trading related, or it could just be naturally that it was a low float. Spread doesn't look super high, actually. You're getting like a 5-cent spread in a lot of these cases. Okay, seems like some buying pressure here around the sevens. It bounced off of there twice. See if it goes lower. It does seem like there's some kind of distribution going on. Okay, I'm in there for the bounce attempt. It was a very brief bounce, but it immediately broke back. Okay, I'm out half there. I'm just gonna cut it there. Still a good hit. Didn't get the immediate resolution I wanted, though. Right, when we broke up, I sold half, but then it immediately reversed back. Made me afraid to hold it for the bigger move. Yeah, it did end up bouncing. Well. Still a nice base hit regardless. Missed out on potentially 50 cents, though. Yeah. What's the Warrior trading feel? Pumped by Ross & Co. or what? I mean, it's the type of stock Ross would trade. Also, a lot of times whenever Ross trades it, you see the volume increase a lot. So I'm assuming he was saying that this is the type of stock Ross would trade. It meets a lot of the pillars that he has. In addition, this volume is suspiciously high. Not saying that he's manipulating it, just saying that whenever the volume is super high and the setup looks clean, you could argue maybe this is Ross buying it. I might get in here again, actually. Looking at the daily, like 630s maybe. Oh, it did go to 630. Oh my god. Well, I missed the opportunity there. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, this thing's just giving back most of the move. Yeah, so 630s is where I was initially going to attempt another buy. I didn't think it was going to reverse and go straight to it. 630s, in hindsight, would have been an okay position. I would have still had about 30 cents of drawdown. Reduced size, of course, so it wouldn't have been as impactful, but the entry wouldn't have been perfect. Red to green, nice. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I do just want to clarify, I am trading higher size now, so you're going to see bigger swings in both directions. I did say that I had changed it. I guess if you guys came in later, you wouldn't know that, but I did call it out earlier in the stream. But yeah, thank you. Thank you, Evan. Yeah, we got 5 minutes till the top of the hour. Oh, that man, I'm like so mad. That 630 entry would have been actually, in hindsight, beautiful. Evan, I've been sizing up. A couple reasons why I've been trading lower size, but currently the main reason is just that I'm trying to keep the account above 5,000, so I don't want to be trading crazy high size while I'm close to being red on the account. Red meaning below 5,000. So kind of my philosophy is that the further we get away from 5,000, the more I'm okay with increasing size. Candy needs your scanner ASAP. I mean, I'm just looking for stocks that have a low float, high volume, high relative volume. I mean, you would have found this stock if you looked for those. Yeah, I don't know what scanners he uses, but I don't know why you wouldn't find this if you weren't looking for those factors. And I'm not trying to criticize or patronize or anything. I'm genuinely just saying that this is a stock you would find if you looked for low float, high volume, right? So I'm not sure what scanners he uses if he didn't find this. By the way, we're getting ready to end the stream here. Before you guys head out and leave, if you want to watch more trading content, I would definitely recommend the Candyman Trader. You can look him up here on YouTube. I've watched a couple of his streams. In my opinion, at least as far as kind of engaging with the community, I actually think he does a better job. He's still struggling to get his feet, but he seems like a very nice guy. He seems like he puts a lot of effort in, so give him some love. If you want to see more trading content, go check him out after this. I won't be here too much longer. Yeah, I gotta log this trade. There's 7. Good morning, Volume Gang. Good morning. The man, the myth, the legend is here to give out the soup. You're right. Actually, you're so right. I actually have enough money to afford a can of soup, guys. Maybe actually 2 cans of soup. Well, I gotta Google this. How much is a can of soup? $2. Okay. $2? No. That's kind of pricey. You can get cheaper soup. Okay, but it says $1 to $2. All right, let's assume $1 is 1 can of soup. Guys, today we have officially been able to afford 5 cans of soup. You like Candyman? He's entertaining. He is. He seems like a good guy. I like him. But yeah, we're coming up on the top of the hour here. If you like the stream, I do appreciate you guys sticking around. If you want to see more and you're new here, maybe consider subscribing. I do stream every day. With mixed results, I share everything regardless if it's a win or a loss. Got to be transparent about it. But yeah, I'll stick around for 5 more minutes here. If we see anything else worth engaging with, then I'll consider a trade. This stock is still very much in play. But yeah, just go ahead and leave with that. There. Advertisement done. Yeah, getting some volume coming through here. This was consolidation too, so I need to be more conservative. Very interesting that it's selling off this much after this hard of a pump. Realistically, 540s, 560s. I'm still kicking myself for just taking a little too long. I needed like an extra 20 seconds to analyze this to decide it was safe to enter, but I would have entered around 630s here, so I would have been able to catch this second bounce too. But yeah, at this point, I would really only feel safe buying around like 555 to 545. It's asking quite a bit for it to continue down. Not impossible, but yeah. Another red day for you? I feel it, man. No, I thought today might have been a red day, not gonna lie. And I mean, it could still be. But I feel you, man. Feed, huh? Okay, yeah, feed does seem to have recovered a good bit. I'm gonna keep my focus on this, because I like the setup of this more than the setup on feed. This did end up having a decent bounce here too. 60-cent bounce. I think you are right on the red or green polls. I went red yesterday and shut everything down. When I'm green, I'm glad to okay, let's do this as a test here. So we waited till the end of the stream, and midstream we checked to see how many people were red and green. And I want to compare the current results for right now to how it was when I took the poll an hour ago. So if you guys could stick around just for a moment to answer this other poll. I'm curious how this will look. Yeah, I didn't see either of those stocks. I'll check them out. Like you said, no volume, so that's why they wouldn't come up for me. Yeah. Yeah, this volume's like nothing. The relative volume just isn't there. Up exactly 1 cent. Still need to work on my can of green soup. Hey, man, at least you don't owe any soup, right? You don't owe the soup man any soup. Where is the soup? He has to give me 5 cans at the end of this session. So this is interesting. So we're seeing an inversion. Let me scroll back up. I want to look and see what the poll. So the poll an hour ago showed 26% green and 16% red. And we've seen an inversion now. So most people were red and a few people were green. So that's very interesting. It's interesting to see the inversion. And also my theory is kind of thrown out the window now because I was, hold on, we might have something here. Okay, this has some volume, but this is pretty terrible. Yeah. It did have, no, it did not. Yeah, it did have news. It did have news. It just did not. I mean, it's still kind of holding up. At least in terms of daily, we have a fundamental value play, so that's good. But I don't like this just huge volume flush on high volume. Like, or huge price drop on high volume, I should say. Yeah. But yeah, very interesting to see the inversion. And this does make me think about it too, because like the guy that was here yesterday, you know, kind of nagging me how I only made $2 yesterday or whatever, it kind of brings up the point that you have huge variation with trading days. Some days you make a bunch, some days you make basically nothing. And this idea that you see a lot of these like financial, hold on, I gotta maybe get involved. This is a 50-cent drop, low volume. BG. Might have missed it already, but that's fine. So let me look for fair value. 270s, that's where we closed. Deployment of VitaGuard infrastructure. Okay, basically a nothing burger. I would want to see this break down a little more to like 55, 45, and I would take a stab at it. Because this does look like a potential pump and dump, but on the same token, this is already so suppressed, I don't think it goes much lower. Sorry for canceling my train of thought. All right, guys, now listen. So I'm going to end the stream here, guys, but listen, I need you all to do something very important, regardless if you're going to watch him or not. I need you guys to all go over, look up, type in search, Candyman Trader. I need you to go to his stream, and I need you all to say that you're giving him a can of soup, okay? I need you guys to all go do that, all right? We're going to go give him soup together. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to come with you guys. We're all going to give Candyman Trader a can of soup, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here, and I will see you guys.